Hey friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 47 of a-knotty-mess knitting podcast. Hi everyone, welcome to my knitting diary. If you're new here, we're covering all of the normal podcasty knitty things. So what I'm wearing, finished objects, which I have one this week, acquisitions if I have them, which I don't have any this week. It's very exciting. And new projects, all my whips, and we talk about books, and that's all. Sorry, I felt like I was a little unlevel. Anyway, we have some things to get through. Here's like start of chat house cleaning. I'm going to try to shorten my episodes a little, mostly because it takes me a long time to edit, and I don't want to stop putting in things like the picture and the title of the pattern and some details about it, because I feel like that's important, and so you kind of know what I'm actually making, and if you're interested in it, or you like the size, or you want the yarn, you know, all those things. But that takes me time to put that in, and just, you know, clipping and stuff, so I want to just chat at you a little bit less. I'm just gonna control my tangents. So let's dive right in. No time like the present. This is my finished Hayley sweater. I'm so in love with it. I'm very, very happy with the outcome. This is a test knit for Iris H, who is Iris Makes on Instagram and YouTube. It is not due until August 11th, and so I don't think the pattern's actually going to release until late August, early September, which is a great time for you to get the pattern so you can make it and join in my Christmas sweater loveliness. So this is going to be my Christmas sweater. I wanted to make a cabled red Christmas sweater last year, but I decided that in like the end of October, didn't buy any yarn, and therefore it was not happening for me. So I did this year. Let's talk through some details really fast, and then I'll stand up. So this is a size E, which is a finished circumference of 48 inches. That's about what it is when I lay it flat for me. It is a recommended ease of 1 to 4 positive inches. I used 4mm needles for the body, which is what's recommended, and 4.5mm needles for the sleeves, just because I was using small circulars and my attention got a little tight, and 3.5 for the ribbing, even for the sleeves. I just kept it the same. I used Cascade BFL. I was going to just point out I still have one skein left and a little bit. So I think I have the final weight and everything in here too. So this is 100% BFL wool. It's non-superwash. It's 262 yards for 100 grams, which is, you know, not a super common like numbers you're gonna hear, but it's a, you know, true DK weight yarn. It did bloom really beautifully when I washed it. Let's see what else I have in here. It is 514 grams, and so that's 1347 yards. Okay, so that's what I used. That's what I put in my calculations. I think the estimate for this was a little bit closer to 6 balls of yarn, like just calculation wise. I think it was estimated maybe at like 1,500 or something. So I got an extra ball just to be careful, and also so it was the same dye lot. I didn't need it. I got it from a local yarn store. I could return it just like for a different color or store credit, but like, I don't know, I like this color, so maybe I'll make like a little shawlette or something in DK weight. You know, Sari has like 20 little baby DK ones, and I have a little leftover of the 5th skein too. So what I will say is that these weighed in pretty much exactly at 100 grams. So with hand-dyed yarn, you'll often get like a 10% extra. So you could kind of err on a little less, but for these Cascade ones, they pretty much exactly 100 grams. Okay, I'm going to stand up so we can see it. All right, here we are. It's so lovely. It blocked really nicely. I'm actually going to put a picture up really fast of what it looked like unblocked. So this is just, I think it's just the same exact sort of dimensions, but it's upstairs in my house. And you can just see it looks more fitted, and these are not as open. It still doesn't have a lot of ease on me. I have an inch. I don't really feel like I'm stretching the sweater at all. I feel like it's just sitting really nicely. And I didn't do any waist shaping. Though in this panel here, you absolutely could. This is how the sleeve decreases are. So you do all of your sleeve decreases. Let me just turn it so I don't have to do like an awkward angle. You do all your sleeve decreases inside of here. And for some of the sizes, that'll include decreasing, you know, these pieces as well. I did mod the sleeve decreases. I did less of them. I started them a little bit later because as you can see, it fits fine, but it is, you know, snug on my upper arm. I don't think it's like particularly holy. Like you can see more just because I have this really bright ring light on my arm, but like back here, like it doesn't look holy. Okay. But that's why I did less. And also pre-blocking, you'll see that these sleeves were sitting, I don't know, like here. And I actually didn't pin this. I just laid it out on a black, I have like a mesh square thing, and I just laid it out on that, and I tugged it a little bit so it was like laying evenly. It looked straight and flat across the bottom, and just let it dry like that. But the sleeves hang over, and I didn't actually do anything to them, but they did give a little bit of length. This also did pull down just a tiny bit with blocking, but mostly it just bloomed and relaxed all of these stitches, right? So that this just like sits a little bit flatter. That's it. The neckline looks really nice. I think she did a really good job with, you know, how these pickups work, what the actual V-neck looks like. Like, I think that this is pretty cute, the detail. Yeah, so here we are. The completed, very beautiful. Oh, I'll show you the back. The back of this has the same pattern. And I'm super happy. I think the length in the back is also really nice. Like, I got a bit of a booty, and it's not like, you know, it's not really lifted very much. Okay, now sit down. Okay, so let me give this a couple of ratings. Pattern, I haven't seen it in its final iteration, so I don't know if I can like really tell you all that much. I think making it, I didn't have any issues with construction. I really also liked things like, here's the pickup line on the shoulder. It looks, you know, nearly seamless, just the way that she did that. One thing I will say is she makes a suggestion in the pattern, which I actually just did an extra row. So I finished all the bottom hem included on the row after the twist. So it sort of finishes these little diamonds. She said to do it before, which is almost the same look, but I just decided to have them finish. And I didn't even plan it. Like I did it on the sleeve, and then I saw the suggestion. I was like, well, this is what I did. I like that. I think it just looks really nice. I thought the pattern was clear. I like the way that she did the charts again in stitch fiddle, which I think some people might not like that, and they'll just print them out anyway, and you can do whatever you want. I liked the way that the V-neck sits. I like the fit overall a lot. So pattern, fit, and make, I really think the pattern will be good. Right now it's in the Google Doc. That's why I can't tell you, because like she's going to format it and you will see a change a little bit. There haven't been a lot of issues during the test. Like the very first week, she didn't have some of the abbreviations listed, and like there was a little bit more chatter, but since then everybody's just been making pretty quietly. I think the yarn is still a tad itchy. Again, I talked about this last week. I'm gonna wear it a little bit. I don't feel like it's very uncomfortable right now, but I feel like if I got a little bit warmer, like I might just like my elbows might get a little bit itchy. I'm not wearing a V-neck right now. I'm just wearing a tank top, and this actually is not bothering me, maybe because it's not sitting like in this very sensitive area right here. But usually this might bother me a little bit, but I feel okay. So we'll see. I do think human hair conditioner, I should have done that. I will when I block it again, or just wash it again in later this fall. But I think a little bit of wear will just like make the inside feel a little bit nicer. I like the bounce on the yarn. I like the color. The color selections are pretty good for this base generally. It's a nice price point. So in the US, like I got this, and I think this is just like what's on Cascade's website too is like $16 per skein or something like that, $14 or $16. This is now available on Webs. Also, if anybody shops yarn.com, you can often get like 20% off. So there's that. And yeah, overall, I think I really like the fit. I like this yarn I chose. I just love the color. Okay, so I'm giving this a big thumbs up. I don't know that I would make more of these though. This is one of those, like, it's a really beautiful pattern. I'd make it for somebody else maybe, because this actually went relatively quickly. Like, you know, if I want it to match with my best friend or Theo when she's older or something like that, I would make it again. I didn't have any problem with the pattern. I just, like, I don't know that I want 8 of this kind of cabled sweater in my wardrobe. So it's like an unfair sort of question. I asked it myself, don't worry. Okay, so I have one finished object this week, which you have not heard about or seen before, because I did it yesterday. Okay, this is a crochet test, which I almost never do, but I have been on the list for Janine Myska, who is Knits and Knots. I think I'll put her Instagram handle there. It's got a couple other letters at the end. Anyway, she has a couple of crochet books out, like Modern Crochet for Your Wardrobe or something like that. Modern Crochet something. And she's got a new summer crochet book coming out next spring. So I can share about this because it's going to be in her book. It's already on her Instagram page. And I think some of her test call went out through Instagram, or it's just going out to her, her newsletter. But I signed up for one test so far, and there's a bunch. She's like doing them in small waves. It was a 5-week test period, but I just started it and it's due next week, but I knew it was only going to take me a little bit of time. So I just sat down and did this last night, and it is called the Bellflower Bucket Hat, and it is not for me. You're correct. This is for my child. This is the size 2, which is for toddlers. It's like an 18-inch circumference or something like that. Let me check really fast. I obviously didn't even write notes for this because this was a very quick thing for me to do. It is for 16 to 18-inch head, and the finished hat is 16.5 inches. Obviously, having some negative ease is generally good on hats, and even something like this that sits, you know, on and has like the sides to help pull it down. You want a little bit of negative ease, but it's also cotton, so it'll just, like, when she's hot and sweaty and running around, it'll grow a little bit. Also, she's a hot and sweaty baby, so I'm sure it will. It does fit on her, and it's a little bit snug. And yes, she is a toddler, but she has a huge head, so I mean, it's full of brains, so that's good. But it's very cute. So let's just talk some really quick details. This is a worsted weight held double for this. I used some cotton I had on hand, which I just had to grab the band of. This is just something I've had for like many, many years, my stash, just from like making dishcloths and stuff many years ago. Anyway, it's called, it's a Premier Yarns Premier Home cotton. It's 85% cotton, 15% polyester. It's 140 yards for 80 grams, which is like such a weird thing, but they're these like sort of small balls. Anyway, I used 2 balls. I didn't use the entirety of 2 balls, but I didn't feel like pulling from both ends. This is just the color. Sorry, I just threw the band. The color is cream, and it is a cream color, which I have like a dark blue or this, and I figured if it's a hat for her to be out in the summer, a lighter hat would be better. I also like, that's like what the sample picture is. And it's just got this like little lace pattern on it. For bigger people, it just has like an extra repeat of the pattern. And then, you know, obviously maybe a little bit like longer of the buckety part, the brim. All of it bigger for bigger people, but I think the only thing that's really different is that this pattern is a little bit extended. I didn't steam it or anything. I didn't really think it needed it, but it just has this like, yeah, it's a cute little like lace chart, but this is chunky, right? This is chunky yarn, so it's chunky lace. Anywho, it's very cute on her. I'm going to get a picture of her in it this weekend from the back or from the side to put on Instagram, though I have never put her face on my public Instagram. So and I won't do it now, not until she can consent. So yes, that is what I have for my finished object. It's made with a 4.5 millimeter hook, and the yarn's held double. I said that. So it's very thick. It's very sturdy. I mean, it feels sturdy. It looks sturdy. The bucket's not too floppy. So I think it'll be really good for her to wear. Even if she can only wear a little bit this summer, like her head's not going to grow hugely this summer. And I can always make her another size if she likes it. Cotton yarn is not hard to come by. It's not very expensive. So I can always make it fun colors or other things later too. So that's my finished object. Surprise! Let's go through my project list now. In an effort to keep us sort of quickly moving and not so disjointed, I'm going to give you the pattern name to start, and then I'll hold it up and give you details right after. So first whip of the week is our oldest whip, which is the Market Henley, and this is a test knit for Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted. I am obsessed. I made a good amount of progress this week, not on the body. I didn't actually do any body rows, but I did a whole sleeve, and the sleeve fits perfectly, and it's so pretty. You can't kind of tell that the color, like I did helical knitting on the sleeve too, but the color of either the ball of yarn I'm using for the sleeve, which I used part of what is the very top, front and back, that ball I saved to work on sleeves, but then a new skein. And maybe it's just like the colors, obviously at a smaller circumference, like how they sort of stack. It just looks a little bit bluer. I'm not mad about it, but I think that the body looks more orange, generally speaking. I'm just hoping that the sleeves kind of match a little bit, so then it won't matter. But yeah, it's looking great. It fits nicely. So it fits like this right now, and I know it'll have a nice stretch. What I'm hoping is that it hits here even while I'm moving my arms and stuff. So just like this one does. When my arms are down, this sits a little bit further up my thumb, and that's what I'm hoping for this one too. Okay, so details. This one is a size 52-inch bust. Recommended ease is 4 to 8 positive inches. That is 5 for me. It is made with, okay, so I'm pretty sure the actual suggested needle size is like a 4 or 375, but I am using a 3.25 millimeter needles. I am making this with Explorer Knits and Fibers Denali sock in the colorway Flock, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards for 100 grams. It's a 2-ply. It's a very nice, very soft, very squishy yarn, and I am in love with it. I will be done before Flock. That's very fun. I don't know if I'll wear this at Flock because this is a long sleeve, but you never know. What if we have a cold day in August? It's not going to be cold. But I have buttons picked out. So, and by picked out, I mean I have like 20 kinds of buttons of varying shades. I've got like some orange, some reddy colors, blue, white, a really soft purple. Basically all the different tonal colors I have in here that I could use. And I kind of want to just, and I have 3 of each of them. So I'm just going to, you know, like lay them out and see. I'll see how I'm feeling about it. I won't put them on until I block, but yeah, anyway, I'm prepped. I'm ready. I have gray also in there and white, and yeah, just in case I want to keep it more simple. I'm not sure yet. And this is where I am. So quite good progress. I think next week I'm hoping to have the whole other sleeve done, and then I'll go back to body, and you know, I probably have about half the body done, so the other half needs to get done. Definitely is not quick, this knit. Again, sorry, my kid is having lunch and she's yelling very loudly. It's not the quickest. The purling, I like need more of a break more often. It's not bad. I'm not like, it's just the way that texture specifically is. So, and that one I won't do any waist shaping. I guess she has it written that like, I suppose you can, though it is supposed to be sort of a boxy cropped fit. The nice thing is that I did put the cuff on. So I said to you guys that I wasn't going to put the cuff on, but I just did exactly to pattern, and I put the cuff. I didn't put the cuff on. I tried it on and I was like, you know what? Even if this grows a little bit, this will be perfect. It's definitely not going to be too short, but I don't think it's going to be gargantuanly long. So I just decided that would make my life easier to finish it. I am going to just do the same exact on the left sleeve. I think it's the left sleeve next. And then go to the body. And for the body though, I may wait, I may block because I think it's just way more weight there. But I might just err on slightly cropped, knowing that I'll probably get a good length. We'll see how I'm feeling. Okay, right on to our next project. This is a Theo blanket. This is a pattern by Tony Lipsy, who is TL Yarn Crafts on Instagram and her blog. Maybe she's on YouTube, I'm not sure. And I did not quite finish what I wanted to this week. Not quite. I am one color shy of finishing all of the color stripes and before going on to the border. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. Like, it's not, this is a self-imposed deadline for sure. I just don't want it to linger too much, but it's looking good. And like, look how much bigger that is. Like, this is a lot bigger than last week, I feel like. And then you're adding kind of a fat border. So I think this is going to be a really good baby blanket size. So I have everything but that orange color. I won't do the black row because that border is black first around the whole thing, and then you go in. I still have been weaving in my ends, so I got most of them woven in from this week because I was all the way down here. So maybe half woven in. And I am going to definitely finish the orange before the weekend or during the weekend, and then I'll just decide if I need a little bit of a break. I did a lot of this over the weekend and then just needed a little bit of a break and didn't go back to it this week yet. That's okay. I did a pretty good job. And that's where that is at. I am using a 6mm hook for that. Various acrylic worsted yarns. It is going to be crib-ish size. I'll do final measurements when I'm done. I didn't care about, like, I knew it would be big enough. I don't really care if it's a little bit bigger. And it's 4 repeats of the 4 colors. And I'm enjoying this pattern. It's a linen stitch. It's a little slower to grow, but I feel like it's tricking you the way that you're doing that because you're not even having to go all the way and around or anything. It's just making these little L's back and forth and you're like, oh, I'm done the stripe. Like, that's so fun. So it's enjoyable. I am going to show you now. Okay. This one I also did mostly over the weekend and I am just like so excited. It's the little things, right? So this is my Vice Versa Shawl by Bridget Zhou, who is BZB Knits on Instagram and YouTube. And she is releasing this pattern in collaboration with Wee Chickadee and La Mercerie for Flock. It is a spinnable pattern, and that would be really great. Maybe my second one will be that, and I'll do the smaller one. But I decided to do the size 2 also because most people in the test knit are spinning and doing the smaller size. So I got to be different / someone had to do the size 1. So here's where I was last week. I really just had this tiny bit. Like, honestly, this took me very few minutes to finish. I should have just done it before the podcast, but that's okay. But you can see how this ends. So you do your last decrease, which this is just the stitch that's pulled over a little. Hold on. Anyway, you do your last decrease and then you've got like 3 stitches and you do most of a repeat to give you sort of this nice little line. And then you graft them together to end. So this little black one is like grafting those last 2 stitches because you like sort of just bind off the middle and then you graft them together. And it takes 2 seconds and it's worth the look because it's like a really beautiful edge. I did already sew my ends and I just didn't cut them, which I won't until it's blocked. I haven't sewn in like these ones though, or my edge ones, but I did pick up. Look how fun that is. This is, in case you were like, what is she talking about? Every time I talked about this, it's vice versa because you have the alternate color. So then the back will just be, opposites. There is a back for mine because I decided to do my spine in a separate color. So you can tell that the front looks really beautiful in that pickup. They are twisted stitches on an I-cord. This is just a regular I-cord, but you're picking up in a very specific way. then you pick up the alternate way for the edge, and you have like basically an I-cord spine. It looks the same on the back pretty much, except the way that I did those twisted stitches in the front, you can see like the first row is knit, you know, so you can see that I have this like purl edge. I don't think it looks bad, and I think once the ends are woven in and stuff, it's like, this is a look, and this is going to be a look. And I have the stripes that I did on the front, like on the right side. And so the back side, they're like a sort of almost a hidden stripe. And I will make them also on the right side for on the pink side here. I will likely do one more full repeat and then actually do the stripes then. I don't know if I'll do 5 if I'll do a different number. I'll sort of just see how I feel about it and how much yarn I have left. I can do 5, I'm pretty sure, but I will probably get those done next week. So you can see also there is a bottom. This is hard for me to like point, but you can see this is like a little bit of it's not a very dramatic point, but I'll block this to be a little bit more of a point because the decreases run on this side, and then they ran on, which they're already done, but they ran on this bottom side here. Anyway, it's super lovely, and I'm pretty stoked about this one. It's so cute. And here's my lovely stitch marker, which this week is our little desert scene by Hello Lavender. It's our progress keeper. So this is going to be a 106-inch wingspan. It's going to be like, I think the depth of it is not very deep, like 19 inches or something like that. I'll put it in my Ravelry page. I don't know. I'm using the recommended needle size, which is 3.5 millimeter needles. I am using a fingering weight yarn, and they're both like very much fingering weight yarns. The recommended yarn is a sport, but I had a discussion with Bridget about it, so it's fine. So now you'll see more options on Ravelry then. I'm using Cascade Heritage Sock in Black, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 437 yards, 400 grams, and Moondrake Sparkle Stardust in Birthday Cake, which is the La Mercerie colorway. It's 80% superfine merino, 15% nep, 5% stellina, 410 yards for 100 grams, and the mini is an MSN mini. It's 60% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 20% silk, 96 yards for 20 grams, and that's actually a really lovely combo that I want more of. Like, I think that would be a really fun, like, garment yarn. But yeah, I mean, it's also hard to see, like, until you're up close. Like, look how fun that you can't see the sparkle as much as I wish you could, but you can see all the fun confetti neps. So yeah, it's very, very adorable. And it's long, so I have a whole pile to put here. I'm really loving that project though. What I will say is Bridget did a really good job with tutorials. So I've never done like the I-cord pickup, but she has a video walkthrough. So all of that is pretty easy to do. It's not going to be too daunting. But yeah, the pattern is not due. The test is not due, I think, until flock or right before, but the pattern itself is not going to need a lot of edits. So yeah, I mean, I think I can't wait for other people to make it, to spin for it and make it. It's going to be so fun. And there's going to be so much fun fiber at Flock. So you're definitely going to find a great combo that you're like, oh, these are so contrasty and beautiful. Anyway, I have next my color tip tee, which is my second make along make. Let's talk about it. This is a pattern by Emily Curtis, who is Gently Chaotic Knits, and on Instagram she's MWeCurt. It is a set-in sleeve t-shirt. It's very basic stockinette. The color tip parts comes in by like you can use minis or just alternating colors or all one separate color or lots of colors for like your cuffs, your collar, your hem, and there's a pocket that's optional. I don't know if I'll do tips, but so I think people call this the tipless color tee, right? So maybe, I'm undecided. This last week I had this like first section done of my increases, my neckline on the left side, and here's my stitch marker, which this is a really fun stitch marker. I'm pretty sure I got like for free from someone at Rose City Yarn Crawl. It's really cute. It's got like a little pressed gold inside of a little acrylic thing. Anywho, and that's where I am over here. So I had done a little bit of the right side front pickup or increases. I finished that. I joined the fronts. I finished the front and I joined it around. I've not done a lot of round side rows. Like I did like an inch, and I'm just like really loving how it's coming up. Yes, this is really squished on needles. Like it's on very small needles. I want to move it to a bigger one, but honestly, I have so many projects right now. I just don't have any more cords that will fit this. And this yarn is small and scrunchy enough that I can just keep it on here, and I don't hate it. Fits fine. I'm probably not going to do any waist shaping or anything for this, so I don't need to worry about, like, I don't really need it to be wider. Like, I don't know. I just like don't feel like I need to see it any bigger. So I'm going to keep on these little guys for a while. But I did do, I did try it on just to make sure, even though it's very short, soon after the join, I was just trying on a couple things, like, which I'll show you one of the other ones, but I tried on the Market Henley, and, you know, for the sleeve, I had the barber cords out, and I was just, you know, I was like, hey, let me try this on too. It fits fine. It sits really nicely on my shoulders. It's just that everything's like really rolly right now. And I am, again, not on gauge, so we have a little bit of an adjustment there, but I did modify the neckline to, because I was worried my row gauge was also a little bit shallow and I didn't want the neckline to be really high, and also I wanted to give myself more space. So I even gave myself a couple extra rows than I had first planned, and I kept all of the increases as they were written, except for the very first ones. Instead of 3 rows between or something, I had 1. It was just every other row for all of it. So it changes the shape a little bit, but like not dramatically. And yeah, I'm super in love with it. So let's talk about details. This is a size 6 in stitch count. So I think I'll be actually a size 5, or maybe even slightly narrower than a size 5. The recommended ease though is 4 inches at your fullest bust. This does have some broad shoulder hacks. So, and Emily has like a whole guide on how to do that, like the pattern and then the guide. And I decided to just do a straight size. I'm using 3.25 millimeter needles, which I believe is what's recommended. It might not be. And I'm using it's called fingering weight. It's Junie and Sai. It's actually a light fingering, but the base is called fingering weight in the color Learning to Fly. 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 462 yards for 100 grams. Like I've said before, this is like a slightly less soft version. It feels a little hardier than other yarns, like than things that are 80%. And I don't know, I think it'll like wash a little bit softer. Anyway, I'm not super worried about it. It's not super stiff. I don't know. I've just been working with a ton of types of yarn lately that this one feels just like slightly hardier for being a hand-dyed yarn. I am, yeah, loving it. Still really undecided on the tips. I just don't know. I don't think I'll do it for the collar. I don't know. Who knows? We can never say what I'll do. I'm hoping though next week to get like several inches of the body done and maybe a sleeve until the cuff at least, to just decide. I don't know. Maybe I should just work on the body. I don't know. But I am helically knitting this, so I have 2 guys connected. It's not hard to do. It's just giving me a more even balance in the yarn. What I probably will do though is I will likely like knit from the inside of one of the balls that's on the body to do the sleeve, and I have a 3rd ball of yarn to start the sleeve, just so I don't have any weird color, like totally different, you know, color looking things happening. I want to do a really quick plug. I forgot to talk about this last week, I think, but don't forget my Cal is still going for Emily Curtis Makes. So if you want to join the Discord, it's always at the top link below. And I have prizes that we're going to be giving out if you complete any of Emily Curtis's patterns. Whips are welcome for garments. So yeah, I'm going to probably post the Google Doc or the Google Sheet because a couple people have finished now this weekend. And so you can fill it out and I will do a little, you know, spin the wheel click thing on the internet and let those people know when they win. It's open all the way till flock. I'll select probably right after flock weekend and ship that stuff out to you guys. So please join. It's been fun. It's been fun seeing everybody's projects on Discord and just getting some more inspiration. Okay, the next project is one I probably put the most time in this week because it does have the earliest turnaround, and it's a sample. So unfortunately, this is not for me, but it's so cute. This is a sample for Witchfire Fibers. That her name is Jess, and she's an indie dyer. She's got some really gorgeous. She does fiber and yarn. She's got a really fun like club. She does a monthly club release, and she does that on fiber also, and they're always so pretty. Like if you don't follow her, she's a really fun colors. She did the Mask Made Me Cry collection that happened earlier this, like in the early spring. I am still waiting for my yarn. She is doing the last of the shipping this week. I will get it. I will be in the very last batch, everyone. But I'm using 2 colors from that collection. So these will be, at least these 2, I'm assuming will be at flock. This is a sample for flock. And this is called Light It Up, the main color. And this is called Through Love. They are both from that collection. They're both Crescent City colorways. And it's so fun. Look how fun that is. I just like seriously, truly love this. Okay, so this is a sheep camp sweater by Jennifer Berg, who is Native Knitter. I am really excited to, I'm excited to make one for me now. I could probably try it on. I don't want to stretch it out for her, but like when it's done, this will be the size smaller than I would do for myself. So like it would fit closer to my bust, but I don't know, maybe that would be nice actually. It's so cute. I think the depth of this chart on this size is good. You know, like obviously I'm a 1 size bigger than this, but like even the armhole, like it's not going to be really far down in the armhole or whatever. Yeah, for Jess also. But I finished both sleeves. So I put a little marker here because this is where the end of the circular yoke is on both sides. And so sleeve complete. I did end these sleeves, so this is a roll neck. You have the option to just do rolled on all of the hems, but as the pattern's written, it gives you the ribbing for the hem and the cuffs and the rolled neck. So like that's the way that it's written, though she puts in alternate suggestions for how to do, like how many rows to do for rolled everything. And also she does put in a how to do the 2x2, the 2x2 ribbing for the neckline as well. I did a bind off in pattern, which I almost never do because I don't like it. But I thought with this one, because where it's going to sit on her arm, maybe she didn't want as much stretch. Anyway, I just did to pattern. I did exactly what pattern said for the sleeves. She does say, I asked Jess and she said she likes a shorter sleeve just because she tends to like pull them up or whatever. So I think like these are supposed to be almost like 3/4 E sleeves. So yeah, that's where it sits. And I think it'll be fine. I put it on my arm. Like I put my arm inside this sleeve, even though yes, this is not my size. But just to make sure like you could have it here and it's not going to be like uncomfortable. I don't have huge forearms, so I can do this. But yeah, so, and I think it fits fine. Again, she could block that to just like give herself a little bit more give if she wanted to, but I think it will look fine. So I did weave in all the ends also. So I did a great job. And I did quite a lot of the body. This is where I was on the body. So I added probably about 5 inches and I've got about 5 inches to go. I ended a ball of yarn and that's why I moved on to sleeves, and I will add another ball of yarn. The last ball of yarn, this will be done in 4 skeins of the main color and 1 of the contrasting in DK weight. I'm definitely going to have enough yarn. I have a little bit left of the sleeve ball, and I have a whole ball left for the body. I probably will use that whole ball and be done. This is the question I used to ask some of my friends in college. And the question is, do you love it or do you really love it? For me, really love. This is maybe like, I don't know. I mean, honestly, I don't know that I would use these colors for myself. It's like a little bit, I mean, it's summery. It's like a summery sweater then. I don't know. I have been thinking like going through wearing all my knits to work all the time is like, maybe I need some like the transitional season sweaters. I need more fingering weight sweaters because I know I would grab them more often in those like the springy fall times. But also like having something 3/4 sleeve is pretty nice. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, moving on. I have progress on my Ever After sweater for sure. This sweater is a test knit for Claire Jackson. This one's not due until September. And honestly, so I've been like looking at my project list, and I think I might do like a little bit of progress, but maybe I'll take a break on this one. And only because I made a pretty good amount of progress right now. And it's going to be a quick knit. It's just, I have one more sample to talk about. And I want to work on my paisley knit sample. Anyway, here is what I've done so far. So I did the collar because you know I hate an unfinished collar. It just drives me nuts. So this week I picked up the collar, finished it, and I picked up a sleeve. And I did, where's my body marker? I changed some of the markers on this one because this one was like floating somewhere and I found it and I was like, oh yeah, I love this one. This is also Hello Lavender. It's a little book. You know I love a book. And this is based on a fairy tale, right? Ever After is it because of the Ever After collection from Treehouse Knits, which is based on Cinderella. Anyway, this is so cute. So I did some of the body, the collar. I picked up the sleeve and I did, you know, like 5 or 6 decreases, and I think I have like 20 decreases. This is the same deal where I'm still helically knitting, but because this is a longer repeat, the colors just change a little bit in the sleeve. I think Claire also did hers. She might not have helically knit hers, but she also did hers in a very, very lightly variegated yarn. I think the lightly variegated things, you notice it less, that difference in circumference between your sleeve and your body. I don't care. It's not going to bug me or anything. It's just like, I'm letting you know that's what happens. And I think possibly if you do a single color, you may actually not see it as much, but you risk like color pooling, just depending on the circumference you're in. This is pretty rapid decreases. So like my circumference is going to change very quickly. So like maybe I wouldn't notice it as much. I don't know. Maybe I'll stop and do like 10 rows or something in just one color or one ball of yarn and see if I like that look better. And if I do, I can just rip it out and do the whole thing over. Maybe that's what I'll do. So I can kind of just decide. Definitely for the waffle stitch one, I don't want to do that. Because that sleeve's already done. And I think it's more of just like the second ball of yarn might be a little bit more blue, which is fine. Things to decide. Okay, so let me give you details on this one. This is a worsted weight sweater. It's top down and it's like pretty basic, but it does have this nice little like garter pickup, which again will sit a little bit back on my shoulder. It is as drop shoulder. It's 54-inch bust is the size I'm making. The recommended ease is 6 to 10 inches. So for me, you know, that's 7. And I am using 5mm needles for the body and the sleeves right now. It is basic worsted by Backloop Yarn and Fiber in the color Wild Terrain, which is a pretty old color for her. It's 100% superwash merino, 218 yards for 100 grams. By the way, Erin's having a summer sale right now, so if you want 30% off of, I think it's 2 or more skeins. And she listed some more summer linen, which is that alpaca. Sorry, I have like fuzz on my face. That alpaca linen silk blend. She listed more of that too. So this is where we are. I really love the body. I actually really love how this variegation is working up. So yeah, maybe I'll just try that on the sleeve. Actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick up the other side because I'm not going to, then I can make a decision. I'd have to unknit one of them either way, but it would probably be easier for me to see what it looks like right next to the body for the two, for the comparison. So maybe I'll do that and then I'll put it to the side after I decide what I'm going to do and make a good note for myself. But I don't need to work on this right this minute, and I do have other things I want to get done. But it's gonna like knit up fast, so it's also like a really rewarding knit right now. If I do maybe keep it as my desk project for the next couple of weeks, I have not been getting very much, if any, desk knitting done. I've just got like a lot of big work things happening. So if I got a row or two, I probably won't share it on the podcast until I sit down and actually do some work, but maybe. Okay, this is a sample for La Mercerie for Flock. I did a flock sample for them last year, also in this color and this base. Different fluff though, because last year I did a summer sorrel with Knitting for Olive Kid Silk or whatever it's called. And this year I am using, I guess, well, I'll do that in a second. This year I'm using a slightly different fluff and a different pattern. So this is the Elton Pullover by Joji Locatelli. And it is a striped, super light and airy, kind of a wide gauge, fluffy and fingering knit. So I am done the back panel, which no, does not look super big. This is a size 4, and I think the arms are kind of almost not fitted, but they're like a little bit more snug rather than like just being really oversized. But the drape of the pattern itself has a lot of positive ease, 16 inches at the circumference. So your sleeve is like all the way down here. So I think that's why the sleeve circumferences are a little bit smaller. And I did all this last night. So I finished the back panel over the weekend. And then I think last week I was like here, like I had just done one stripe in a little bit. And this is also a Hello Lavender accent marker, but this one is from the Seattle coffee cup that I got when Reshma was visiting Bainbridge Island this spring. Okay, so this is the pickup line. And then I did some front shaping short rows. Hold on, let me hold it like this. So you can see where that like is a little bit wider right here for the neckline. And then I did neckline increases, and I did that on both sides, and I joined the fronts as my very last row last night. So there's like literally, this is the cast on stitches right here. I didn't go back. I was done. But there's not a lot extra to do in the front. You know, I do like the matching back rows, so it's, you know, it's this much, but it's not very much flat knitting, and then I'll be able to do this in the round, and that'll go a little bit faster. So I would definitely join the body this week. I do need to get this to La Mercerie before Flock, and I don't think I have to block it. Maybe I block it, but anyway, I'm feeling comfortable with the deadline. I definitely will like probably fly through this part really early in the week, so, or like over the weekend, so I know that it's done, to join it in the round. And then I think I'll do the whole body first, and then I'll do sleeves second, even though I typically want to do them in between, just so I don't have too many balls of yarn connected to this because of the fluff. I don't want to get tangled. So that's probably what I'll do. But who knows? You know me, I just go rogue, do whatever I want. Okay, so this is a size 4. It is supposed to be 56-inch bust. The recommended ease again is 16 inches. I'm making it with 3.5 millimeter needles. That is the suggested size. I did do a gauge swatch, and it's fitting fine, or it was fine. And then I am using the La Bien Amy Merino Twist base, which is a shop specific base for La Mercerie, in the shop specific colorway, which is Autumn Hydrangea. It's 75% merino, 25% nylon 2-ply for 65 yards for 100 grams. And De Rerum Natura's Berenice and Avoine, which is oats, same color, or that's what it means in French. And it's 55% super kid mohair, 25% silk, 20% wool, 230 yards for 25 grams. Like I said last week, I mean, now that I have more of this knit up, it is mohair-y, but I think it's a little bit denser, just like coverage wise, than like the Super Kid mohair or whatever from Knitting for Olive. Like, I think it's just slightly. So, there's information for you. I will tell you about the very last thing I played with this week, and these are swatches, and I never show you swatches, but I brought these down because I'm very undecided. So I got into another test knit. Yes, you're right. I need to stop signing up for test knits, but this is for the Crayabea, and I signed up not thinking I'd get in, because I get in like 1 out of every 5 that I apply for her. But of course I got into this one. I'm not mad about it, because this is the knit I've been watching her make and just like really, really wanting more than any knit, like any of her patterns in the last like year. So this is for her Kip sweater. So if you haven't seen it, it's like this herringbone-esque type knit. It's like these herringbone stripes. So these are just 2 stripes, but it's, you know, this way, and then it'll go back slanted this way. You know what I mean? The whole sweater. And this is about the depth of them. And I'm very excited. I think it's I love all over texture knits and like how smart designers make like the shoulder seams and things like that. Right now there is like a little bit of the wording question on the first few rows. So I'm not like, I'm not pushing myself to join this minute. It's an 11-week test, so I have plenty of time. It is a Sport DK knit. She used Ulyss for her sample, and that's where I'm struggling. So Ulyss is like 400 yards for 100 grams, but it is listed as a DK weight yarn because it's woolen spun and it does bloom pretty nicely. This swatch is done in Good Wool, which is a Pearl Soho yarn, and is 383 yards for 100 grams. Also 100% wool, not really woolen spun, but I was hoping it would bloom nicely. So I don't know. You can't see it as much on camera, but live, it feels kind of holey, which will make a nice light sweater. And as I just said, I want more light sweaters. It's not focusing now. As I said, I want more light sweaters, and then I'm like complaining that this is going to be too light and holey. But I think, like, can you see back here? Against my skin, I'm just worried that I'm worried it'll look holey. Anyway, so I did another swatch. And this one I didn't even make as long as this one. No, it's not 4x4, but row gauge is aspirational. I'm never really on. It's also kind of hard to measure this one row gauge just because of the pattern. So I decided I don't care. And I did half of it. I wanted to be on stitch gauge. I had to go up a needle size to get stitch gauge on this. And I did actually block this swatch because I wanted to see if it bloomed nicely. It blooms a little bit, not as much as I was hoping, which is why I'm a little bit worried about this. And yes, I can buy Ulyss and just make this. That's fine. I just wanted to use stash because that's kind of a goal this year, is to use more stash yarn for test knits. That, you know, and I have so much yarn. I have sweater quantities of yarn. So this one, as you can see, is like the absolute opposite. So this is like, and this is on a little needle, so it's giving me separate problems. Okay, so this is like very dense, and this is very airy. This is also, this swatch, this blue one is 4 stitches smaller, but it's actually like, I didn't block this one, and I mean, I can steam block it if I want to, but I know how this yarn behaves. This is Malabrigo worsted, which is a non-superwash single ply kettle dye yarn. Good Wool is also non-superwash. So I think both of them will be really nice for the texture and like keep the stitch definition. This stitch definition is super nice, but like you can just tell, like it's very plump, it's very dense. I actually got stitch gauge on this, but anyway, I've not made a garment with this, but I've made some pretty big things. In normal stockinette, it doesn't really grow very much, but it does like weight. It's weighty. What I will say about this is, because of the way that this is mostly like a slip stitch pattern, that's how you make this pretty herringbone thing, is that like I don't think it'll grow lengthwise like the whole knit. Like it will be heavy, it'll give itself a little length, but I don't think it will as much as some other things. They feel 100% different. I just don't know what I want. Like this is really light and airy. I risk having to I would probably wear a tank top under it anyway. So it's like, I don't know, like it's probably fine. Or we get this like dense version, which will be like a really nice and super cozy knit, and definitely will pill more. I don't know. You can weigh in the comments. I am going to let these sit and percolate for at least another couple of days because I don't need to cast this on right now. I probably won't cast this on until the week after next, after 4th of July. So if you have any comments, questions, want to give some feedback to me, please do so below. Which one do you like? Those are all of my knitting projects. So the last thing to talk about is I said I didn't have any acquisitions, but I lied. I didn't pay for any acquisitions this week. I got gifted some sample fiber from Trisha at Yarn Jam. So like I said a few weeks ago, Trisha's having a podcaster collection for fiber, which is so exciting. I get to be in this really lovely group, and she sent me the 2 bases that are gonna like go with her to festivals, I think. And I think you'd be able to buy it online in other bases, but they'll be like in stock for these 2 bases. And so the 2 bases are, and I'll show, this one is in the bag still. She has this beautiful merino rambouillet blend. You can see just like how floofy that is. This is all, I think this is probably only 1 ounce, and it's just like mega floof. This is just like, this is not my color, everyone. This is just like stuff she had, like, you know, done samples on, or just like testing for like totally other colors that are just in her stash of these bases. And this one is the same merino rambouillet, but also with tweed in it. And this one is the colorful tweed. And I have 2, I did half of the spin. So here's the other half, is these 2. So you can see it has these yellow bits. It's got red in there. She said that actually the manufacturer just changed this. And the neps I think are like not acrylic or something, or nylon. They added blue, so there's gonna be blue in the neps too. But like, again, this is just a sample. This is nothing like my colorway, which I'll show you when it gets here. But there's like a little bit of green. Anyway, so it has these veins of tweed in it. And when you spin that, because this is the one I spun, since I hadn't spun any tweed before and I wanted to try it, you can see that they just like show up as little pops within, and it's much easier to see when it's like spun. Just little pops of color that show up in here. So I'm going to continue spinning this, and I'll probably just make a baby skein, right? So I won't probably blend it with anything. I'll just do like a 2-ply on itself. Actually, maybe I'll do it on a second bobbin and just do a traditional 2-ply. I don't know. I could chain ply it. I mean, it doesn't really matter. This is just a tiny baby skein for me. I don't, you know, who knows what I'll use it for, but it's, yeah, it's really, they're really cute colors. I just, you know, she only gave me a little bit, and an ounce isn't going to get you a whole lot of yarn. But it's really fun to test it. And so I'm definitely going to get someone's colorway in the tweed. And there's a natural tweed too, like I mean, I don't know if it's natural, but it's like black and browns and stuff. Which I may also think about. I like spinning tweed. That's what I learned this week. It's always good to learn things. The other thing I got from her was this like really adorable yarn is my jam. It's just like a progress keeper. I didn't put anything on anything yet, so I would have to show it to you, but I am going to put this on something because it's like, it's so true for all of us, right? Now let's move on to books pretty quickly. I read several books this week, and I realized like last week I just totally didn't tell you that I finished One Dark Window, which is the first of the Shepherd King books. I liked the end. I thought it left on a good cliffhanger. My thought on this series, and this is a series by Rachel Gillig, I think maybe it had too much hype for me. I thought it was okay. Yeah, I don't know. There was just like something about the main character. And I think part of it is because of like, let's call it her affliction, which you have to read this story to understand. I felt like not quite as connected to this character as I think I normally want to be. It's a little bit understandable why. I do feel like there's some unnecessary escalations towards the end, which yes, obviously we're building to a climax, but like, there were just some parts that I felt like it fell flat a little bit for me. I'm excited to read the second one still. I think like the cliffhanger was good. The world building is interesting, but I also think I think there's like, she's like wrapped some of this in like, it's got like folk tale bits in it. And like, it's definitely got like, there is an air of mystery on purpose for some of the worlds that she's built. But I just feel like I have more questions than I should, having fully finished one of the books. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I will read the next one and then I will let you know. Okay, so what did I read this week is I finished What the River Knows, which is the first of the Secrets of the Nile, by Isabel Ibañez. I also, maybe I'm in like in a romantasy funk here. I thought this one was pretty good. I think there is something that bugs me about this book in particular. And maybe it's a little bit of what I felt for One Dark Window, is like, she's writing about a semi-strong-minded, strong-willed female character in a land where that's not appreciated. In this one, it's like, it's our, you know, world for the most part. There just is some magic. But it's in the 1880s, right? So like, you know, women are still property, etc. at this point. Not a great time to be a lady. But she does these really strong-willed things. And I think part of it that drives me nuts is they keep doing this thing where like men just don't listen to her in conversation. And I understand why she's doing it, but they seem like these false ends to conversations. Like she's still in the room for some of them where she just feels like, and I just couldn't say anything. And I'm like, but why? She's young. There is that. But then I feel I'm halfway convinced about the drama that happens in the end. And part of it is because you are just supposed to go along with the fact that she's skeptical and super skeptical of everybody around her, except for this one person sometimes, and this other person who she should definitely be skeptical about just based on past treatment, and instead is like, okay, I believe everything you say, even though the thing that is being asked of her is the fishiest, most unbelievable thing ever. She was set up. I mean, you know, like, it's all the things that I should be able to just like go with it for her story, but I just feel a little unconvinced. Anyway, I will read the second one for this one too. I mean, I thought that also, it ended on a good twist. I'm going to be kind of pissed probably about the dude's twist that was like at the very end. I thought that was kind of dumb. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, then I decided I needed to read some light, fluffy romance. So I read Mr. Wrong Number, which is the first of the Mr. Wrong Number series, when I already read the second one. So I knew that this couple was going to end up, but I didn't know anything about their story. This is pretty fun. It's like somebody texts the wrong number in their phone, like they just didn't have the contact saved, and the girl just goes along with it, like not like pretending to be the person, but like responds and is like, haha, you know, and answers a question. I think that it was like, what are you wearing? Which like, who even texts that to somebody they never had a conversation over text with before, even if you're flirting with them. So weird. But they like become friends, and it's like a mixed identity thing. And it's actually this person that the first person who texted the wrong number knew the person in their phone. They just like, I don't know why he made the assumption that this was just a totally wrong number. Maybe he just gets a lot of girls' numbers and he never saves them in his phone, so it's just like some other rando. But doesn't he suspect he's at least met them before? I don't know. It's very weird. When he finds out who it is, he's shocked. It was fun. It was very fun. The next one I read was The Rule Book, which is the second of the cheat sheet series, which I just read the first one a couple weeks ago, by Sarah Adams. It's like an athlete's book. This one is like old high school, college sweethearts reunited. She is a sports agent and he is going to be her new client, and it's spicy drama. That's all you really need to know about it. But she just writes like very fun characters. The cast of like other dudes in his life that are on the team unrealistic that they're all sweethearts, but so fun. Like, you just love all of them. And she's kind of sad. Like, she's kind of a sad sack character. Like, she doesn't have any friends, but like you see a friendship bloom organically on her own, and then a couple more through the guys network of ladies. Like, she just didn't have any girlfriends. Anyway, it's cute. It's very fun. The next book I read was Once Upon a Broken Heart. This book has also been recommended to me a bunch of times. It's the first in the series. I already have the second one and I just started it, but it's by Stephanie Garber. And it's about like a romantasy book where there is like a world of semi-magic where the main character lives, but more magical things in like the north, the other land. And these demigod type characters get reawoken in the beginning of the book, and cause a lot of havoc. And basically the Once Upon a Broken Heart is just that the main girl has her heart broken, and she makes a specific wish to, you know, one of these semi-demigod type characters, and he grants it, but you should not make bargains with out a whole lot of specifics is really the question. I mean, is really the moral of the story. That's the moral of the story. You learn pretty much anytime there's a magical being gonna grant you a request, like definitely they're going to mess with you a little bit. And it's a book all about like how that changes her whole life, that specific wish. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. You should, I liked it. I'm definitely going to read the second one. It's just, I started the second one and I was like, I need another little mental break. So this, I went back to the Icehome books and I read by Ruby Dixon, and I read 10 and 11. So Mari's Mistake is the first one. And that is a girl that actually gets mated super early, but then her like mate or whatever, he gets gravely injured and they like turn off her mating bond. And then they're like background characters, like you hear about them in all the other stories because they got mated in the very beginning. And they have this like issue ongoing of like, he needs a long time to heal and her mating bond gets turned off so that his kui can focus on healing him, whatever, all these things. And so you finally kind of get the beginning part, which I felt was like a little bit boring because I already knew enough about it that I didn't care about how they got bonded, but it does kind of build the things were good, now they're bad, will they get better? And then I read Raven's Return, which is about one of the characters who is the only character you've heard about actually who totally lied about her life on Earth, which is really interesting. And you find out why like later. And she gets abducted by aliens that we have not heard about before, who are they're same Sakui or whatever, but they're it's a different tribe we didn't know about or hadn't heard much about. And then she gets saved by whoever becomes her mate, obviously. These are always two perspective books, so you always know who the couple's going to be. It's not a mystery what's going to happen. And they're not meant to be a mystery. They are meant to be little tiny droplets of spicy goodness in your life. Okay, I spent a lot of reading time this week though, reading Path of Daggers, which is The Eighth Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I'm about halfway through now, and I'm going to try to bust this out this week, hopefully, so I can move on to the next one in July. I'm not going to quite finish this year if I do one a month. I don't know, maybe I'll just like blast through some of these. I did listen while I was spinning because of spinning, and I just listened a lot last night while I was knitting, but I need a mental break. There's so many scene shifts and stuff. It's just like I need like a little bit of a break sometimes after a few hours. Okay. I have a mess of projects on my floor here now. That's all from me though. Okay, here's what I would like, always comment what projects you're working below. And, any questions I throw out there, I love to hear everybody's opinion about them, like my swatches, which one do you like better? Maybe I'll throw that on Instagram too. But, I want to know what flock content people want leading up. We're a little over a month out. So there's lots of stuff that's going to be happening around here getting ready for flock. We've got friends with plans we're making. I'm gonna probably see some people before flock, obviously during and after each day. And I will do some shopping prep. So let me know what you're interested in. Like, do you want to know what my weekend's gonna look like? Do you want to know what I'm gonna wear? Do you want to know how I plan to shop or what I'm gonna be shopping for? I don't know. But I started filming right after flock last year, so I didn't even talk about it at all before, and I just want to know what you guys would be interested in hearing about. And I can do those like separately as small episodes, or I could just put it in a regular episode depending on what you let me know. That's all from me. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you have a really lovely weekend, day, night, whenever you're watching this, and that you got some progress done on your projects. Please let me know what you're working on. If you haven't subscribed, click the link below so you always get notified when my videos come out, which is every Thursday or Friday. And I also am open always to Instagram DMs if you don't feel comfortable putting a comment below. So I will chat with y'all soon. Have a good one. Bye.